What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today's video is about how not to do a water pump. You see, I come over here because I got a lot of this truck all done. Cooling system stuff. Now, water pump I did not do, but I did do thermostat, all that stuff, blah 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 blah. My buddy's truck, if you want to see more on it, check out the other videos on my channel. This is the truck I just bought. Now, the guy I bought it from tells me, oh yeah, I just did a water pump, alternator, a belt, upper radiator hose, blah 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 blah. All right, gives me a bunch of parts. I look in the back of the truck, and he never put the fan shroud back in, which is that. Never put the exhaust back on. Didn't put the intake back on. I said, okay, I'll do that. So come out here a couple days ago to put that stuff back in, and off the bat, first I noticed is that he's got hose clamp holding this on, which is not right. Hose clamp that's like 5 inches too big for on there. Looking around, and the bolts for this, I put the air filter and the bolts for this are gone. But I'd cleaned this box out, put the air filter in here, and started to get this put back together so I can get her sold and make me some money in these troubling times. I'm looking at the water pump, and coolant level was down more. And so I start looking down at that, and I'm like, the lower hose was never replaced. And I thought, gee, you did the upper hose and the water pump and this other stuff, why not do one more hose? So I go to look down on here, and I don't know if you can see it. You see all that stop leak and that brown stuff that's in there? And you notice how right there and right there, the two studs that are supposed to look like these are gone? And you also see how there's caulk, clear silicone inside the holes. And you look in here and you can clearly see all that. That's all stop leak. This guy, I'm imagining he broke off both those studs. And rather than fix it correctly and drill them out and extract them or retap holes, he put a shitload of RTV around the water pump down there, and then siliconed the holes so it wouldn't leak, then poured a shitload of stop leak in the radiator. So everything has this crap in it now that I have to take out and clean because this guy decided to do stuff half-assed, okay? Don't do this. If you put work out like that, put down the wrenches. Don't work on stuff, because now I got to take all this off, get all that stuff cleaned off, take everything out of the cooling system and clean it and flush it several times to get all this stop leak crap out of here. Thankfully, I have a fairly decent gasket collection here of stuff I always stock. So I got some Windsor water pump gaskets, so it's not a big deal. But if this guy would have just flat out left it alone when he snapped off the bolts and said, hey, I broke off bolts that need to be extracted, he would have saved me a heck of a lot of time and a little bit of money not having to take all this stuff back apart and clean everything. So now I got to go in here and get all that stuff off, extract the bolts, clean all this crap out of everything, because that stop leak stuff just makes a disastrous mess. I don't know if you can see down in there, but oh yeah, you can see it's in there too. But this is not the proper way to fix stuff. Okay, you don't ever, if you have a coolant leak, unless you're in a dangerous situation, do not put stop leak in anything, because that stuff does, even if it works, it wrecks your cooling system. Okay, that's not the way to fix it. And if you break bolts off, don't RTV everything in the attempt to hide it. Just figure it out, or pay somebody to extract the bolts. Okay? I have done so many of these water pumps. I've worked on, this is the 302, this is a 351 Windsor. My green truck's a 351 Windsor, okay? I've rebuilt plenty of these engines. I've done plenty of engine work on these engines. I've done tons of water pumps, okay? I've snapped off so many water pump bolts. I've snapped off exhaust manifold bolts, and I've snapped off thermostat housing bolts. Okay? The only ones I never could get out on the first engine I rebuilt were when these ones here had snapped off. I had to buy a new timing cover because I could not get them out of that aluminum. Okay? But those two down there go into the block. I've broken those off. You can get those out fairly easily with a good set of drill bits and a extractor and a torch. So this is just a little video here on doing stuff correctly and not doing stuff like this and passing it down the line. Okay? That's just stupidity right there. If you do stuff like that, stop and just stop working on vehicles, because there's no excuse for that. That is just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. That's like kindergartner, just quality crap right there, okay? You know, you look at the job I did, and you can see a nice new gasket. I cleaned everything off really nice, new bolts. Only reason I had to reuse that one clamp is because I was in a jam and didn't have one. But otherwise, I use nice new clamps. The hose is seated down nice. You know, that's how you do a professional job. You don't make it look nice. You don't want to do it, you know, all half-aid and do stuff like this and clamp stuff like that. And, you know, it's just, people these days, I don't get it. But just a fast video about this little rant also. Pile of parts and crap I'm working with, but working on a few vehicles right now still, but just a fast video about that. So hopefully this helps you out. If you do have a question about a Ford engine, okay, basically any kind. I've worked on damn near all Ford engines, but especially these old ones, or the 4.6 engines or 5.4s. If something happens and you need help, comment down below and ask the question. I don't know how to use the PM thing on YouTube, but if you just put in the comments a question, or if you break these bolts off what to do, I can send you a link to the tools I use to drill them out and extract them. When I do take this water pump off, I'll be making a video of how to take it off and reinstall it and drill the holes and stuff out. To get to this point, literally all you gotta do is drain the radiator. There's a petcock right there. You open it up, and then the upper hose is, you know, from there to there. You take that off. It's to the screw on there is a 5/16 or an 8mm or a flathead. Take the upper hose off. There's two screws, one right there, one right there. They're an 8mm or 5/16. On this truck, it was at least. I think this one here may have been a, nope, that's an 8 also. That's what they look like. And you take those off. You take this off right here. You take this off here. You pull that crap off. Pull your hose off, and the fan trail lifts right out. When you take off these 4 bolts, right there to the very tip there on the pulley, you take those off with the fan. You let the fan and the shroud out. Again, I'll make a video doing that, but like the video if you like it. If not, whatever. And if you're not subscribed, think about subscribing. If you have more questions on Ford trucks and stuff like that, let me know. If you want to see more on these trucks, go back to my old videos and stay tuned for more. We'll talk to you later.